Over the years, many films have been retold or reworked for newer audiences, which have helped these films gain a newfound respect and fan base. But in recent years, the number of remakes being made per year has increased, while the quality of these films has steadily decreased.
I think that in general, it's a poor show. I don't think that remakes tend to be all that good. It's taking an unoriginal idea, an idea that's already been done.
I think the quality of the remakes, I mean obviously the production values to them are really quite high, but I don't think they've spent enough time developing the story for it. I mean most modern remakes aren't traditional shot-for-shot remakes, maybe something like Gus Van Sant's Psycho, which, I mean, that's one remake that just bombed in the cinemas completely.
Well, I think the thing is, when you're remaking a classic film for a modern audience, I mean, obviously there's a lot of fans who have, you know, a certain amount of love and respect for the original. But I think the reason they do it and stuff is, I think a lot of the time, they know there's a built-in audience, so it's a lot easier to just churn out a script and, you know, fast track it and sort of use the name alone to cash in on that sort of thing.
It depends mostly on the fan perspective. When you remake a movie that's quite cheesy and old and you bring it into a new and kind of more modern environment and give it a more professional feel, often it loses what made the movie originally quite good. It is that cheese factor, but still keeping to a great idea and a great plot and so on. It just depends on the film.
With a larger budget and more advances in technology, the question that must be asked, are there any remakes out there that are actually better than their originals?
There are two remakes that I think are quite superior to the originals, to tell you the truth. There's Insomnia by Christopher Nolan, which was originally a Swedish film, and The Departed by Martin Scorsese, which came from China's Infernal Affairs. But yeah, both those films have really blew me away when I saw them. Very similar, I suppose, in the remake, but still hopefully different kind of movies.
Scarface, the second Thing movie, the one with Kurt Russell. The upcoming Total Recall looks quite good, but it's one of those movies that the original was a bit of cheesy fun, and this one's meant to be a much more much more based on the original novel, which is actually quite hard and quite graphic and quite painful. It's going to be a hard thing to pull off, but I'm looking forward to it.
I really do like the Dawn of the Dead remake. I think, you know, it's loyal to the original. It's different, you know, the story's different, but there's a lot of nods to the original. They get a lot of the cast in, and it very much is sort of like a 21st century over-the-top version of it. And I like that idea. I like the idea that it's, you know, a remake, but they don't, I guess it needs to be somewhere in between being a shot-for-shot remake and being its own thing.
I'm going to go back to The Longest Yard here with Burt Reynolds. In the original, Burt, I like when they remake a film, but they kind of rework it so that they can have the original cast in it playing the older characters, which is a really clever thing they did with Burt Reynolds.
If a higher budget and a better technology can improve some films, what films do people think could be improved?
All the films that I really, really like, I would be furious if they did try and remake. I guess something terrible. I mean, give Cutthroat Island another bash, or you know, like they remade Red Dawn. I don't know if it's ever coming out, but like, I don't think anyone was upset that they remade Red Dawn. You know, it's like, it's almost a question of why did they do it. But no, I would say if there's a film I like, then stay the hell away from it. That tends to be the fan reaction online anyway.
I'd like to see a British remake of the Australian film The Castle. I think that could be really funny. I have my casting list in my room of who I would like to play who, but I think that The Castle is there's great Australian films that I think could be remade really well just because they're so good, but they're not so well known that it would affect people as much. And I think remakes that tend to be more about loving.
It's exciting to see such old franchises being brought, especially stuff like Star Trek, because the original Star Trek was God knows how long ago, basically, and was quite a low-budget, cheesy thing, and they brought that out to be the movies, and then it died off again, then they had the TV shows, and then there was more films, but at the same time, it does feel like we're going in circles, and there is actually a growing lack of original projects.
With the advance of CGI and 3D in cinemas, It seems that most films these days are geared towards special effects rather than storytelling or originality. And the fact that the movie industry seems to keep remaking films and franchises seems to show that Hollywood may be finally running out of ideas and only seems to care about making money rather than quality films. And that has had a knock-on effect on original projects being produced in Hollywood because of the film industry's reluctance to invest in original scripts because of the potential for financial loss.
I think personally I would prefer to see more original material. I mean, everyone's playing it safe in Hollywood now. They're going for things with established fan bases already. I mean, whether that be books, magazines, or comic books, or even as I think today you're most likely people are just kind of picking these franchises because they have no other influences. You know, a lot of people are coming straight from film school. All they do is watch films, and that's where their influences come from.
As I said, there are movies made to make money. You know, these big budget, which is not to say they're not good, but you know, there are movies that are definitely made as almost toy commercials. You know, they know they're going to make money with it. You know, but they also remember they also look for awards as well. That's another big thing. They're maybe not trying to make a credible movie, but they want awards. So sometimes they can hire talented people. I think there's still a lot of creativity in the film industry, even with the majors.
And I think our generation, my generation, we were raised on television and films. We were left in front of tellies for days on end by parents who were working hard in a Thatcher's Britain. So we're a lot more protective over like our programmes and our films. We're a lot more passionate about it, whereas our parents probably wouldn't care if you remade Poldark.